Okay, welcome to this first proposed millage rate hearing we have. Please take note outside and on our website and so forth as to the following meetings for the scheduling of the next meeting. As always, I want us to stand and do a silent moment of prayer and then be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand with me. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the purpose of this millage hearing is to make the public aware of the proposed millage rate for 2019 fiscal year 2020. At this time, I'm going to call our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Ramona Bivens.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, and Commissioners. This is the first of 3 public hearings that we'll be having regarding the proposed millage rate for 2019, which supports the budget for the FY20 budget. The official code of Georgia requires that we set a millage rate at a level to support maintenance and operations of the county. We're required to advertise our current year digest along with the 5-year history of our tax levy and millage rates. We're required to hold 3 public hearings if the proposed millage rate is greater than the rollback rate, which is considered an increase in taxes. This year's calculated rollback rate is 15.084 and is considered revenue neutral. In other words, we'll generate the same amount of revenue as the previous year. The board approved a budget which was supported by maintaining the current gross millage rate of 20.819, which was lowered last year, so that was lower than the 2016 and 2017 gross millage rate. And after applying the sales tax credit, the proposed net millage rate is 15.858, which is an increase of 0.262 from last year's net millage rate, which is the equivalent to the decrease in the sales tax credit. When we did the budget approval, we did it based on a preliminary digest. The tax notices assessments were mailed out on April 26th. The deadline for appeals was June 10th, and we received the lockdown digest on June 19th, which is what we use to calculate the sales tax credit and the net millage rate. So based on those figures, the 2019 tax revenue estimates on the right side, the net assessed values for 2019 was $7.5 billion. As I stated earlier, we're proposing to maintain the base millage rate of 20.819. The sales tax credit calculated, which is based on the sales tax revenue collected for last year, and the property values would be 4.961. When you subtract that from the base millage rate, you get a net millage rate of 15.858. And if you look at the sales tax credit from 2018, you will see it was at 5.223. So this year's is lower again by the 0.262, and that's due to the decrease in the sales tax revenue collection of our local option sales tax. The gross tax levy would be $118.7 million, and we use a 97.5% collection rate, so our net tax collected that we're estimating is $115.2 million. This is the digest in the 5-year history and the current year digest for 2019. This shows the values from the last 5 years against 2019. And as you can see, from 2014 up to now, the property values have started to increase again. As I stated during the budget hearings, we're still not back to the pre-recession values, but we're getting close. Also, we had an increase in all areas. We have real and personal property, mobile homes, timber, and heavy-duty equipment. We had some increases there, but we did not have the increase in the motor vehicles. But as you see, that goes down every year because of the TAVT that was implemented by the state a few years ago. So we get some true-up money for that, but the actual revenue collected from motor vehicle tags decreases, and it's going to continue to decrease every year. The exemptions, well, our gross digest was $8,298,000,000. And we subtract the exemptions from, other property exemptions was $808 million. That leaves us with a net digest of the 7.5 billion that I mentioned earlier. Again, the gross millage rate you see there is 20.819. And you can see from 2014, it was 20.953, and it remained that way to 2016 when it was increased to 21.1. And then we decreased it in 2017 to 20.847, and then it decreased it again last year to 20.819. And you can also see the rollback rate at the bottom where it says loss in insurance premium. In 2014, it was 6.084, and it has gone down throughout the years, and this is lowest that it's been in the last 5 years. But again, that's based on the sales tax collections. So again, we're proposing the 15.858. That's how we came up with that. The fire fund is similar fashion to the general fund, the same thing, except their millage rate is at 5 mills. They don't get credit for the loss credit. It's just a straight 5 mills for the service. And it's same as the general fund maintenance operation digest, they've experienced an increase as well, but the same as decrease in the motor vehicle area. So with this one, we're showing the net M&O digest after applying the exemptions of $688 million is $5.3 million if we round up. And when you apply the 5 mills, that generates taxes levied of $26.5 million. And we have a 97% collection rate with that as well. And I believe it was around $25 million. This slide just shows the total county for both M&O and fire combined together. The total county values is $12.8 billion. The total county taxes levied for both maintenance operation and the fire is $145 million, and that's $9 million over what was what was levied last year. So this, as we mentioned, we're asking the board as the proposed net millage rate to approve the for incorporated Clayton County would be a net millage of 15.858. Unincorporated Clayton County would be the same plus the 5 mills from the fire department for a total of 20.858. And it is my understanding that the school board has had are having their hearings, and they're proposing a millage rate of 20 mills. This slide shows the estimated tax values on a home with a fair market value of $150,000. The first set is the 2018 bill from last year, and it shows they would have paid $1,029.80. And this is with the fire included in it. The same home with no change in value this year with the increase in the net millage rate would be an additional $13.10. And if they had an increase in their property value, I just used a $10,000 increase, then you would see theirs would go up by $96.53 if they had an increase in their property values of $10,000. Excuse me, and this is residential. I did the same thing for the commercial. The first one shows a fair market value of $450,000. They would have paid $3,707 in taxes last year. That's what they would have been billed. If there was no change in their value, the $450 remained the same. They would pay an additional $47.16 if you approve the 15.858 millage rate. And if there was a $10,000 increase in their property, if it increased to $460,000, it would be $130.59 additional. I've gotten a couple of calls this week from a couple of commissioners, and before even now I had a discussion with another commissioner regarding Clayton County's millage rate being the highest millage rate in the metro area. And that is true. I have listed up here the millage rates for Clayton, Cobb, DeKalb, Fayette, Fulton, Gwinnett, and Henry County. However, I caution of looking just at the millage rate, because 1 mill in Clayton County is not equal to 1 mill in other counties because of the property values. The average sales prices that I have here for Clayton County, I got it from the tax assessor's office. All others we searched and got it from online data, the average sales price for those homes in the other counties. And I showed what the tax value is, and that's the 40% of the, if I'm using the average sales price of the market value, and less than $10,000 homestead exemption. and then there's the millage rate. When you apply the millage rate to that tax value, it shows the taxes levied. Under the taxes levied, I show the value of 1 mil, and that's $1,000. Well, you take the tax value and divide it by 1,000 because 1 mil is $1,000 per valuation. So the value of 1 mil in Clayton County, because of our property values, is $49.82 versus $93 in Cobb, $71 in DeKalb, $89 in Fayette, $89 in Fulton, $82 in Gwinnett, almost $83, and $63 in Henry County. So if I take that, what our 15.596 generates in Clayton County with $776.99, in order for those other counties to generate the same amount, I put what their millage rate would have to be. So as you see, because of the property values being high, the millage rate is lower in all of the other counties. But it still generates the same $776. So that demonstrates that the 1 mil in Clayton is not the same as it is in other counties, if that makes sense. The remaining hearings, we have this one today. We're required to have 3. The second hearing will be held at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, August 6th, and the third hearing will be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 6th, before the board meeting, and the adoption of the millage rate would be on the agenda that evening as part of the regular business meeting agenda. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you
Okay, does
have.
any board member have any questions for Ms. Bivens?
I just want to say thank you for the information that you provided, but I did have one more addition, if I could get that from you, is so that we could show within our calculations where we've offset the grant that was received from the governor's office due to the loss in sales tax. And that was actually a request specifically from our state representatives to be able to show that as
now
well.
I can give you that. It's because of the type of revenue that it is, we can't include. It's not a sales tax. It's not collected. It replaces it. So in the form of a grant, but I can show you where we have it budgeted.
That's what I said.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could show the grant.
Gotcha.
I specifically said the grant.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't say sales tax. I said
Gotcha.
the grant for that replaced the loss of the sales tax.
We can do that.
A loss of the sales tax.
Okay.
So I do want to see that, and that we've incorporated it into our budget so that it would just give us a greater, better ability to assess the information.
Okay, not a problem.
Any other questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, we'll have public hearing. Comments? Yeah, read it.
The board will now hear public comment. Citizens will be given 3 minutes maximum time limit to speak before the Board of Commissioners. Please state your name and county of residency for the record. Speak clearly into the microphone, and speakers should be courteous, respectful, and not make any disparagatory remarks or use abusive language when addressing the board.
All right, Mr. Alvin Farmer, and please, as you come up, this is a public hearing for the millage rate. If you could keep your comments germane to the meeting, the public hearing that we have here.
Could you give this to the chairman? This deals with the millage rate. That's some information that was not spelled out to me where I can understand it. The second thing is, if I understand this correctly, the millage rate is to raise taxes to get more money. I've seen a few things where the county been wasting money. You came up with, or somebody came up with this idea of splash. I never heard of it. I've been to about 30 different countries. I say instead of raising our taxes on property and whatever like that, which I'm a property owner, y'all splash whatever money y'all need. That's my fix to the problem. If I'm not mistaken, with Leatherwood came up with something, and then I looked at it on the internet because of I was gone. That's excess money used from the taxes that should have been done. Another gentleman came in and said, y'all spent $250,000 our tax dollars and hadn't raised an inch of dirt. So it seems like the money you have are not being used smartly. So splash it and everybody get it, and tell us why you need the money also. Thank you.
In response to your statement, Mr. Farmer, SPLOST is an initiative that came up that the state imposed, and the citizens are the ones who actually vote on it. So if the citizens want to give up a penny for capital projects, that way we don't have to spend money out of our fund balance or general fund, then that's the benefit of having a SPLOST that is voted on by the citizens of Clayton County. Each county has the ability to vote for a SPLOST.
So since you want to raise our taxes in this millage rate.
No, let me explain to you. We're not raising taxes. We are not proposing, this board is not proposing a millage increase because we have lost revenue from jet fuel tax, and we lost a rebate, a sales tax rebate is what caused the millage rate to creep up a little bit. But this board is not, let me make it clear to you, is not proposing a millage increase.
Well, who is proposing it?
I just said, sir, because we have a loss of revenue from jet fuel tax is what causes, which triggers that increase. And
That's
if you want to get with the CFO afterwards, she can further explain it to you, or Mr. Johnson as well.
Because I want to talk to the people who this, because I don't want my property tax done because like I said before, the money that we're paying taxes on them is not being used smartly. So maybe this increase will not be used smartly either.
Thank you,
So
sir.
I'll talk to whoever, well, matter of fact, both of y'all get with me after this, and I want to hear in a way I can understand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Regina Hemiquez. Am I saying that right now?
Enriquez.
Enriquez.
Good evening.
Good evening.
A month ago, I was here.
Let's talk about the millage rate, ma'am.
Yeah.
We have another meeting that's after this, so.
Yeah, I'm a senior citizen, and I don't file income tax because they say Social Security is not taxable. And almost 10 years, I've been fixing my house. I've been paying taxes, but if they raise it, I saw last month when they sent my thing to me, they have raised it $100 more. And since I have one income, I don't know how I can pay for it.
Okay, and we spoke before. I don't have a solution for you either on that. We have directed you to some people that we were hoping that was going to be able to help you. So I don't know what to tell you other than that. But again, your situation is not germane to this meeting, this public hearing. But we heard you out anyway. Did you have anything else you would like to add?
Still, I haven't get nothing done for
Okay.
my concern. And when it rains, the water from my chimney, it go through all my house. I lost ceiling from my garage. It destroyed 3 bathrooms in my house. And now they police sent 2 detectives to my house. The code enforcement too came, and they said they will clean the drainage. Last Friday, they came there to clean one side and destroy the work I have done. I saw also somebody intentionally throw some stones to block the water to go so it can wash the work I have done. And I came here on the 13th of June to meet with the code enforcement officer together with Mr. Stanford Derrick and police officer. And the meeting, because I don't have anybody, lasts for only less than 5 minutes. Okay. And last Thursday, Mr. Farmer came here with me. They throw us out not to come here to look for you to speak to. So I want to know why.
But that wasn't the case. There was nothing else that could be discussed. We directed you to everybody. We keep telling you over and over, as well as Mr. Farmer, that this board, or even myself, other than to direct you to the people, the Clayton County Water Authority and so forth, to deal with your issues, other than that, it's a civil matter. So if somebody took your property and it wasn't the county, that's not within our purview to handle. So that's a civil matter. But thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. Mickey Garber.
Mickey Garber, unincorporated, Rex, Georgia. Let's stick to the issue that we're talking about this evening, is the millage rate. Now, I want to go on record to tell you that I'm against it. Why am I against increasing the millage rate? You used an example or used an example of our housing values being lower than anywhere else. I have tried to show you we're getting rid of RS 110 and building low-cost housing is decreasing the value of all other properties. If you get rid of RS 110, what will happen is drive demand for existing houses. Now, you used here an increase in minimum part-time hourly rate. Yes, for the lowest paid, I want them to have an increase. Personnel for additional road cleanup crews. Now, there is a perception that Clayton County is a dirty county to live in, and we need to find a way to get our roads cleaned up. Getting our roads cleaned up is a responsibility of each and every one of us here and living in the county and passing through the county. I've tried to show we're getting the young children educated to cleanliness, making them part of the incentive of getting the county cleaned up. You wouldn't have to pay for this. But there's been no conversation. You give these say that there's public comment, and public comment that I've seen has been going on for years, but it falls on deaf ears. Now, to facilitate Ms. Werner in her having housing for our firemen and our police force, that yes, I am for that, but using the abandoned houses, making that incentive, using those abandoned houses of which you've lost tax revenue on already, that are already dilapidated, using those for those people and giving them an incentive and creating a pathway to home ownership. And don't do it through rentals either. Leave rentals out and build a pathway to home ownership. Thank you.
Thank you. Timothy Vondale Jefferson.
How are you, John?
Okay. Rob Leatherwood.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. The first thing I want to address was we need to do a better job about full transparency for these meetings. Somebody happened to see it in Clayton News Daily paper. I don't know very many people that get a physical paper at their doorstep anymore. So when you went online, there was nothing about this. There was nothing posted from the communication director until about 60 minutes ago when they posted on nextdoor.com. So most residents found out through word of mouth, to be honest, to be able to come tonight or even find out about these hearings. So we just need to do a better job about, I mean, we had put signs up a month in advance about back to school parties. But when we're impacting people's pockets and money, we're not doing as effective of a job as we need to do. The other thing that I was looking at, and I appreciate the information that was provided tonight in the pamphlet, is that we're talking about the lost 1% tax credit as a result of lower sales tax revenues collected by the county. I know that we're saying that we're having to raise millage rates in order, or the appearance of raising millage rates to compete with other counties. Well, if people are going to other counties to shop, it's like saying we got to raise our sales taxes in order to collect the same amount of sales tax in Clayton County as Fayette County or Henry County or somebody else collects. So the perception is that taxes are going up. The illustrations show that we do pay the highest out of all the metro counties. It appears we pay the highest with our education tax. And then some people even say that our sales taxes are more than other counties where they can go shopping. And so I really feel like we almost need to just, look internally, dig deep to see what needs to be changed. What do we need to do to facilitate better growth, better home values, better businesses, better shopping? We need to look across the board within every department, within every personnel, to make sure that we're getting the most. Because it kind of feels like people are hearing the same thing year after year. And a lot of people are just kind of, they're getting tired, they're getting frustrated. Most of us try to be optimistic and try to look at the good. But at the same time, it's hard to do that when you feel like you're constantly getting hit with the negative. So just ask that you would please take that into consideration. Thank you.
And let me just reiterate once again, Mr. Leatherwood, that what triggered the millage increase is the loss of the jet fuel tax.
Right.
Not anything on this board's part where we asked or requested any kind of millage increase.
Right. No,
There's a formula that the state goes by, and that formula, because we lost revenue, sales revenue, is what triggered that percentage. Am I correct? Yes. Okay.
Right. So I'm not pointing blame. I'm just saying that.
Well, you're saying look in our departments and try to skin that cat that way.
Well, it starts with leadership. And so
Absolutely.
all I'm saying is that we just need to dig deep to see what we can do in order to tackle this problem head on so that we can provide lower millage rates and lower options for our residents. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, that concludes public comment. And with that conclusion, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second the motion. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.